are types of situations that I'm like, okay, and everybody's like, well, you just need to get a new car, and I said, well, you just need to give me the money to get a new car.
Right.
But see, now you're saying something else, and if I hear that one more time, I think that emotional intelligence may break.
We gotta start over.
I, like, come on now. I done already gave her my Lero.
Right.
And I love my car. It got two-tone interior, the sunroof. It's a beautiful
sound system.
Driver. Yeah, all the both speakers. Like, I'm good, right? But no, this power steering. So it's no
so it's you with your point. So you're like, well, yeah, I'm trying to figure out where do I apply that right in the situation. And so the reason why it says no matter the situation, because it's very easily 7 times, a couple of different people trying to fix it, previous car experience, car on fire, struggling, and that's just one area of your life.
Right.
People not providing the best service. Definitely an opportunity to say, man, forget all that emotional intelligence stuff.
Knock all this over.
Right.
Knocking all this stuff off the counters.
Right. And so why that skill set is so important and why you gravitate to it, even though you're not liking the situation, because when you start knocking things over, right, when you take your car without paying because you mad, or you blow the place up, or whatever someone would do to the extreme, and then you're finding yourself being held accountable for it, right? And that's the cold part about it, right? Because you're doing forward thing, because we both been down before. We've both been in custody before. We understand what it's like to be kidnapped, your freedom taken away from you, right? And every time we've done something and got ourselves in trouble, when we're in that trouble, we look back and go, I ain't really have to do that. But in the moment, it is the most challenging. So for our audience that's listening and trying to figure out where we're going with this, what we're saying is that after all that she has been through, and she's making fun of it because she's a comedian, she's a good-hearted, spirited woman, as we know, but that doesn't mean she's not upset.
Right.
Doesn't mean that it doesn't make her depressed.
Right.
Doesn't mean that she's not frustrated.
Very.
But even in that, right, she's not on the news.
Right.
She just not the woman that went go wild.
Big.
Right. But how many people were on the news this morning?
That lost it, road rage, all of that. I could do a whole segment on that alone.
Yeah, for sure. And this is why this skill set is important, folks. This is the I Never Worry podcast, where we discuss emotional intelligence with everyday people about everyday situations. We want people to be in this because a lot of people out here are going through bad customer services experiences. We see it all the time, and we are always responsible, right, for how we act, no matter how we feel.
But we like to blame. See, this is another cultural thing too, that I feel is so sad for us as African Americans. I get it. Like, okay, like, stole us, we brought here many hundred years ago, I got all that, right? So are we a victim? Of course. But do we need to be the victim? Of course not.
Right.
Like, okay, I got that. Like, it was cold, what was done to us, when you know and understand history. So we have that blame thing. We never want to take accountability. And this is what I share with these young men in the jail. I have a young man that is most likely probably going to go away for the rest of his life. And what I have told him over and over again, I said, listen, Tookie Williams and all these other people that done stuff and look back and was like, man, I didn't have to do it. I said, guess what? Don't let your mind go to waste. So take your mind, use your emotional intelligence. If you got to go away for life, start trying to help somebody else. Don't think because you got to go away, you can't help nobody, right? So take that. And that's why I can't wait for you to, whenever you can, just come, because they're so broken and nobody has taught that. Like, if this could start in the home, if this could be like, if people would go back to having dinners and turning off the TV and going back to some of those things where you had to sit at the table to eat, not everybody in their room eating wherever the heck they want to, and no connections. It's because it's such a total disconnect, and the emotional intelligence has really helped me, because I could have went off on a few people several times. Deputies, all type of stuff. I done got disrespected. I got youngsters calling me out my name. I said, you really can't talk. You got on somebody else's underwear right now, young man. It's not a good look. And I'm going home. So use your intelligence because you're going to need me tomorrow. So So it's always an example I get to use, that emotional, that EI, baby, that EIO, yeah. I really use that a lot, and it's good because it's easy, and we're just difficult people because we weren't taught. We were taught to blame everybody. We was taught, and yeah, I get it. We were done wrong. They freed us, and we had nowhere to go. They had no education, had no banking, no savings, no nothing. We had to start all over. Right. So I tell them, give yourself a break, and then try to utilize all the services and resources that are out there. Let's stop playing. You know what I'm saying? Like some days I gotta just stay down.
Right.
I have to. Right. Because I feel the crazy coming.
Frequency is off.
Oh, that frequency be off. I'll be like, girl, stay in the house. Stay in the house. Stay in the house. Don't answer the phone. Don't say nothing to nobody. I might peek on Facebook. Right. Let me find me a good movie. Let me find some comfort food and just
recalibrate. Yeah. So. And that's important. And that comes with the self-awareness, right? Being mindful, right, of how you feel, right? And what you're doing with those feelings and being honest about them. Right. So a lot of times we won't be honest, and especially for us as men, right? We could be depressed, but we won't say it.
You men will not do it.
We won't do it. We're sick and we won't say anything. And that has a lot to do with what we think the perception is going to be about or how we were raised. Because mostly for men, when you're younger, if you come back in the house crying, right, somebody tells you to get your butt back out there and whatever and fight, or you better not let, so you don't have a space. So when does a male growing up have an opportunity to express themselves? Most of the time, right? And you can't do it in school because you don't get teased. You'll become a victim of being bullied, right? And then when women, right, are being emotionally charged, they start getting titles as well. They're being catty or this or that.
Y'all can't stand it either because y'all can't do it. So I think there's a disconnect because it's like, why you look at the woman like, calm down. And it's like, dang, I don't get to do that.
Right,
part of that comes from,
for sure.
I don't get to act out and cry and act a fool. Why you get to do it? Like, so that's a trip. Yeah.
And the key to this conversation and what we're illuminating here is saying that you can feel however you want to. Just like I could be very angry with you right now about something that you did and still talk to you like this, right? And get my point across. But that's... Yeah.
That sounded scary. You owe me $30,000, but I'm sitting there and talking to you. I got my bag on me, right?
The difference between that or being disrespectful in the conversation, right? And the way we say it, it has a lot to do with the way it's received. And so it happens every day in small situations. I think almost every other person who came on the show today texted me about parking. Right. People were circling around and can't find parking. I can imagine what that felt like, right? Trying to, especially if you felt like you were behind schedule or things of that nature, like what we tell ourselves, right? The narrative behind that. We had people who come on the show that really are not speakers, but came because they said, because it's me, right? So they called a friend, the friends, they feel like they couldn't, it was a conflict if they didn't come, but conflicted within themselves by coming and doing it because it's not something they did. So emotions play so much a part in terms of how much they talk, right? How they feel about it, right? How jovial or excited or reserved, and all that energy is transferred throughout the day, right? In the direction that we're going. And so when you sharing your stories and I'm listening to, like, as I commend you, because I know, right?
Come on.
I know that you
called y'all. and so I'm trying though, I'm trying.
Yeah. And but you could always choose the latter, right? You can always choose to be rude, disrespectful. You can always choose. You have a platform. People follow you. Things happen. You could choose to come on and go on, go on rages and be negative and call people out that have not been right with you and all that kind of stuff. Because we've talked about that. And you choose not to. you know, and for women to choose not to be messy in today's time, when you have a platform when all you have to, you could type whatever you want and push play, right? And whoever's paying attention, you get, is a powerful thing. And so for you to be still having an EI, everything that you're going through, and still exercise that, I have to commend you, because this is why I wanted you to become part of the platform, because we need people to understand that it's not just me who's trying to say, hey, let's just be emotionally intelligent for the sake of being emotionally intelligent.
No, right. I mean, because you want a peace of mind. I don't know. I can't speak for everybody, but I know for me, being an African-American woman, the high blood pressure, the stress, diabetes, all these things that come about just from the mental. And people don't even realize mentally we make our body sick. And that's from trying to hold on to so much pain and stress and all this type of stuff. So a lot of times I even try to share with these young people in the jail. I said, dude, why you tripping off of him? Because he this. I said, so check this out. Did y'all come in here together? I said, is he at your court trial with you? Ain't you on trial right now?
Right.
So you in here finna fight and then get something written on your card. So now I can't come in here and advocate for you, because why are you fighting somebody that don't even have no, why are you giving him that much power, right? So inside of there, it is so hard for them, because I don't want to appear to be weak.
Right.
So if you step to me about this water, right, and I don't say
which
nothing,
I might, because it's the last bottle.
and then you already had yours.
I wanted more. I wanted more now.
Okay, that was I tried, but that's why I see a struggle with our emotional intelligence, just being incarcerated and being inside those walls,
right,
and having to, like you said, portray this image and stuff, really knowing I don't want to fight you, but then how am I going to survive in here? Right? But my life is on the line. And so I tell them that in my groups. I have like 20 of them in my group, and I say, look, check this out. I don't have nothing to prove to none of y'all. I shop at Ross. I don't care nothing about y'all red bottles. I don't care nothing about y'all little things. Y'all want to floss and all that type of stuff. I said, because guess what? I got bills, car note, PG&E, water, food. I got to eat. I said, I got to come up here, pay a toll to get here to come talk to y'all. I said, look, I don't care about what y'all think I got on. Little youngster capped on my Skechers. He's like, oh, them clean. He said, oh, them Skechers? I said, yeah. I said, but wait, they was just clean a minute ago.
Right.
So now they ain't clean no more because they Skechers?
Right.
Like, so that type of emotional intelligence, I'm really trying to, I'm really trying to like breastfeed them, like literally, because they're babies.
Right,
so it's literally like I take it out and put it in their mouth. Here, come on, shut it on up. Come on, shut it on up. You know you need this. Come on, get some of this nurture. Mama here.
Right.
And I can't have kids. A lot of people don't know that. I can't have kids, so it's just amazing how the universe just gave me a bunch of them.
Right, for sure.
Some of them I don't. Some of them I could just talk to and be like, okay, Mr. Such and Such, Some of them I'll be like, you gonna get your. And the deputy be like, "Oh, you in trouble?" Like, right. They know I care.
Yeah, it's all love.
Yeah, so I really, I need you men that have emotional intelligence when you can to come talk to them.
We're coming. We talked about that in scheduling.
That emotional intelligence it's got to be infectious. I'm doing. I just need everybody to each one teach one.
That's it. That's right. And that's what
each one teach one.
And that's why we're creating bigger platforms, though. So when we physically can't be there, we have something to share with them.
We could just get a video.
Yeah.
If you can't come, we can definitely
give them something to listen to.
Yeah. I got a TV in there with the DVDs and all of that. Like,
and maybe we'll do something very special for them. Maybe we'll do a show that's specifically for them.
Maybe we'll record something,
right?
A video.
And you know what I mean, for you specifically to take to them and say, look, I got my guy to sit down, and you know what I mean, and you can ask them, you can find a way to format like whatever you will think that they need to know, and we'll hit them.
The questions first. I can go in there, get some questions, and then we could come back.
We could do that.
And if they have anything, you know what I'm
and
saying?
We'll title the section for them and everything.
And for a couple more dollars, we can do like Too Short did in the 80s, put their name in it.
That's why you over there thirsty. That's why you thirsty right now. I got the last water.
I'm gonna take that water. You better start that water.
And then my emotional intelligence gonna go right out that door about this last water. I'm just playing. Okay. So.
Still might get that water.
Cause of something else.
We over here, we shucking and jiving.
Grapes is mine.
But we talking about a serious situation here, something that's very applicable in our everyday lives. And I want to thank Miss TYLON-TBOOGIE for blessing